All right, back for another beer review, and today I'll be reviewing yet another beer from the Great Lakes Brewing Company, and they're out of Cleveland, Ohio, and this is their Midwest IPA. So this is a Midwest IPA that comes in at 7% alcohol by volume, 45 IBUs at the time of review. I don't know exactly how old this can is, but it does have a best by date of October 25th of 2025, and I'm drinking this one just under a month away from that date. So according to the brewery, we should be more than good to go. And speaking of the brewery, I want to give a huge thanks and shout out to Great Lakes, and more specifically Lily from Great Lakes, for this beer. So huge thanks to them. In the description box, I'll post a link to the beer mail unboxing video I did that contains all the goodies they sent my way, and they sent me an awesome beer mail. The box was branded and included a half dozen beers, 5 of which were unique, some stickers, and a personalized letter that let me know that they appreciate the thoughtful reviews, which is just the coolest thing ever, because if you follow the channel, you know I've been drinking Great Lakes stuff for over 15 years and one of my favorite regional breweries. So to have one of your favorite breweries reach out, send you a care pack, and then say they actually enjoy the reviews is just, I'm over the moon. I will not let it impact the reviews. I'm always honest on my channel, but it's still cool nonetheless. So this beer, they released this one, I think, for the first time back in the summer of 2023, and I've seen it on the shelves, and I just never picked it up. Why? I don't know. I've reviewed quite a few beers from Great Lakes over the past couple of years. It's just, I never picked this one up. So now I don't have to, because they sent it my way for reviewing purposes, and that is cool as heck. On the back here, it says Midwest IPA is it says a sensible amount of hops politely greets a mild-mannered finish. Welcome to the unofficial IPA of the Midwest Nice. So the first time I ever heard the term Midwest IPA was back in like the mid to late 2010s, and I still don't know what it means at all. The first time I ever heard it was somebody referencing Two Hearted Ale being like a Midwest IPA, and I was like, okay. I still don't know what it means. However, Great Lakes, on their website, posted their explanation of what they think a Midwest IPA is. And outside of them talking about, like, you know, something that mimics the people of the Midwestern part of the U.S., stylistically speaking, they say it's like a West Coast IPA marries a New England IPA. So you get like the lighter body and clarity of a West Coast IPA with the fruitiness and soft bitterness of a New England IPA. That sounds awesome to me if it was like the late 2010s and the early 2020s. That's where my palate was. Now I want dry, bitter beer. So we'll see what I think about this one. And like I said, I don't even think Midwest IPA is like, you know, they're not like, they don't have like official, it's not official style of like BJCP or anything like that. Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it has been. But yeah, for the most part, you don't see a lot of Midwest IPAs, certainly, that don't get like decent distribution. So I'm here for it. So let's crack it open, get in the glass. 2 things I want to mention while I pour this one. Number 1, this one is brewed with Triumph, Strata, Cascade and Citra hops, and then the malts are 2-row base malt and honey malt. And then the other thing I want to mention as I poured into the hashtag proper glassware is that I'm actually reviewing this one before the Oktoberfest, but I'm going to post the Oktoberfest beer before this one. Why? Well, if you guys follow the channel, you know that I prioritize IPAs whenever I get a beer mail, and even when there are beers in my fridge, because, you know, the fresher the better with IPAs. So the Oktoberfest, I'll be posting it in, you know, it's a seasonal, so I'll be posting in October. With this one, I might post it in November, but just let it be known that I'm actually reviewing this one, believe it or not, in late September. So it is what it is. Anyway, let's get a look to this one. Now, they do have a hazy version of this one, and this one does have a decent clarity, but it still has some haze to it. But in the hashtag proper glassware, that looks pretty fantastic. Not gonna lie, it looks really, really good. So it has a beautiful orange color, like a golden orange color. There is, you can probably see, yeah, you can make out the shadow of my hand, maybe even see it a little bit. Almost 2 fingers of this off-white, almost bone white, somewhat soap sudsy and creamy looking head, just plays the role. Let's get the contraband flashlight. Yeah, so it has a decent clarity to it, not murky and turbid. But it does have a gentle haze to it, where the hazy version is probably just full-on haze. So kind of what I expected. Now, like I said, freshness of this one, I'm drinking it just under a month before the best by date. They probably give this like 3 months, so it's probably a couple months old. Whatever, we should be all right. It smells like an old school, just American IPA. It has a nice, like, slightly bready caramel malt character. And I'm getting a lot of orange and grapefruit, like white grapefruit, sweeter orange, a little bit of that, like, and I used to get this sometimes in older IPAs, but also just older style of IPAs, a little bit of orange marmalade. Touch of like a nondescript, like red berry. Yeah, a little bit. Maybe the Strata. Now, Triumph, it's funny. I don't know when you're going to see this in comparison to another beer I reviewed, but I reviewed from Beer Tree their Super Pacific, the wet hop Triumph variant, and that was just brewed with wet hop Triumph hops. And I was like, I don't think I've had Triumph hops, or if I had, it's maybe a couple times. And now we got another beer with Triumph in it. Yeah, maybe a little like a peach, apricot, kind of stone fruit. But it has this beautiful, like floral, slightly resinous pine quality. A little bit of earthiness. It smells nice. Like this smells like a nice, to me, old school. You can call it Midwest IPA, American IPA. I wouldn't quite go West Coast, but I'd go even maybe East Coast IPA. It smells pretty fucking good. Let's get into it. Cheers, everybody. Thanks again to Great Lakes and Lily. This is nice. That's a little bit more bitterness than I anticipated based off of their description and what they're kind of talking about, like a mild-mannered finish. Yeah, I mean, this is an approachable IPA. Buying this for 7%, nice, medium-bodied. The mouthfeel is where the body and mouthfeel really stand out because it's really easy to drink. This is very crisp on the palate, like moderately carbonated, a little bit over. It's super clean. And it's just a joy to drink from the body and mouthfeel standpoint. Like, it's very refreshing for a 7% Midwest IPA. Like, I could crush this. So right from that bready, slightly caramel. More bready than caramel, though. Maybe a touch of caramel. More bready, maybe crackery. Biscuity, we'll say. Bready, biscuity. There isn't even a touch of honey. There's the honey malt in here. So a little bit of like a sweeter kind of like honey biscuit, honey bread thing. Dies underneath the palate with me the entire way, but never steps in the way of all the hop character until the finish, where it kind of hits again. It almost reminds me of like a Helles lager or like some kind of German lager where like I get the malt at the forefront and the back. It's kind of what's happening here. But as it passes through, a lot of pithy and juicy orange, has like a mandarin orange, a white grapefruit, like a peel and a pith, like more bitter and grapefruit. There is that peach and apricot, stone fruit, maybe a touch of pineapple, that slight red berry thing. And then the finish, it's more floral than anything for me, with this slightly resinous pine character, maybe a touch of a dankness, but it's more floral resinous pine than anything else. This actually has a firm dryness to it, a mild to moderate bitterness. Yeah, straight on mild to moderate bitterness. Actually, I take that back. Let me go back for one more sip. It might be more bone dry. It's very dry. It's approaching bone dry, but it's mild to moderately bitter. This is very well balanced, kind of what they were talking about. This is not my favorite IPA or anything. I always call a spade a spade. I can get down with this. I can, right? But if I'm grabbing a beer from Great Lakes, it's probably not going to be this, personal opinion. But if you're somebody who likes old school IPAs, East Coast IPAs, dare I say Midwest IPAs, at a good value, price point is really good for this. The availability is really awesome too. If you get Great Lakes in your area, this is a year-round offering. You should be able to see it. I would recommend this to you specifically. If you're somebody like me who like needs dry and bitter beers nowadays, or you love New England IPAs, it's kind of too much in between those two styles, I think, where it's like you might find some beer drinkers in the New England style that would be okay with this. Same thing with West Coast style. But I don't think it leans enough in either direction for anybody to be like, I have to grab that if they love those two styles. But it's a good beer. I'm enjoying it, and I'm glad they sent me a can of it, and I'm glad I was able to try it. Do one more sip and lock in a rating. Yeah, I'm going to hammer that out probably 5-10 minutes off camera. I'm also getting the slight, talked about it recently. Shout out to Dustin. He got the same thing in a recent review I posted where I was saying I was getting, I don't know what it is, but some IPAs nowadays I'm getting like a slight tartness, not like an off flavor, but like a tartness, tip of the tongue, sometimes a little bit later. But it's very minute. It's a skosh of tartness, but it's definitely citrus heavy. And that's what I'm getting with this one. A little bit of like a tart like orange juice, slight like lime juice. It's really cool though. It makes it even more refreshing. So, rating on this beer. I'm not going to go super high, but I also can't dock it too much. For a Midwest IPA, whatever you want to make that out to be. And if you know what a Midwest IPA is, if you drank a lot of them, if you're in the Midwestern region of the U.S., post in the comment section. Let me know. I always say that I don't pretend to know everything. I'm not up to date on my BJCP guidelines, but Midwest IPA just seems like one of those those one of those styles that's like, it's not official, but a lot of breweries do use it. It's pretty good. It's pretty good, and that's where I'll leave it. So Midwest IPA from Great Lakes, we'll go low 4 out of 5, we'll go 3.9. I think that's a fair score for what I'm drinking here. Definitely one of these beers, though, like if you're a football fan and you want to grab this while the NFL is going on, or college football, whatever the case may be, then you probably grab this and not think twice about it. So, hammer out a 6-pack, watching the Browns hopefully win, although they're not doing so well. Joe Flacco listen, the man's, 41? Like, I don't know. Anyway. Price point availability in my neck of the woods, Buffalo, New York, $11.99 a 6-pack. 12 packs, probably like $18 to $20. If you're in Ohio, probably a bit cheaper, maybe like $10, $11 a 6-pack. That's a fine price point. $2 or less for a can for something 7%, sure. I didn't even talk about 7%, like no warming my chest, nothing on palate, 7%, hidden extremely well. So props to them on doing that. And availability is Great Lakes. This is a year-round offering. You should see their beer, but as we know, Chaz. Doesn't mean that you're going to see it, but if you do get Great Lakes, there's a high probability you'll see this. Not guaranteed, but you'll see it. Like I said, I've seen it here in the Buffalo, New York area quite a bit. Just never picked it up, so I'm glad I grabbed it. And so if you've had this one before, please post in the comment section, what did you think about this one? If not, what's your favorite Midwest IPA? What's your favorite beer from Great Lakes? Any and all discussions, I would love to hear from you guys. And once again, huge thanks to Great Lakes and Lily for this beer. They love that I keep it honest, and I'm not sitting here glazing this beer, as the kids would say, or maybe the kids don't say. But I think it's a well-made, properly brewed beer, and I can see what they're going for, and I do enjoy it. I give it 3.9, but you'll never mistake this beer for one of my favorites from Great Lakes. Not even remotely close. The Nosferatu, which you'll see way before this one, was a superior beer. Now, that's like a specialty release, but that beer is so fucking good. It's amazing. This doesn't touch that, but this is a year-round offering at 7%. It's not a big double red IPA at 8%. So, it's not exactly, you're comparing apples and oranges, right? But just want to let it be known that while I do find this good, not my favorite, and probably one I don't know if I'd personally repurchase it again for myself, but I can see myself easily drinking this one again. It's like it's a good beer. It's just, there's so many beers out there. I don't know if I'd reach for this one. If I'm reaching for any beer from Great Lakes, it's unofficial porter every day of the week. Like from the year-round offering, that fucking beer is amazing. So, shutting this one down. Thanks again to Lily, Great Lakes. Thanks to everybody stopping by for another beer review here on the Beer Patrol. To the next one. Cheers. And did I say like the balance? Yeah, like the dryness, the mild moderate bitterness. This isn't overly sweet to begin with. This probably leans a little bit more dry than anything else. That's kind of where I am, but more bitterness would really win me over. Probably get into the 4 range, like 4, 4.5, or 4, 1, something like that. But that's not what this style is supposed to be. So whatever. To the next one. Cheers.